Sorry, just getting ready on my YouTube live, and then we'll be good to go. Just want to make sure this. Give it 2 seconds to start. There we go. Beautiful. All right, we got the chat up. All right, what's up? How's everybody doing today? Just got the chart on BTC right now. Nothing crazy, but you know, we talked about a potential downside move yesterday, and that's what we're seeing. So yeah, what's up? Just getting used to it. Yeah, man. You have any questions, feel free to ask. A lot of the stuff you can find on the website, and if you have questions, you can ask in Discord. Especially for the newer people, I recommend if you're newer to the Discord, Tactical Edge Trading, check out the website, man. There's tons of stuff on there. A lot of things really do funnel through there, and Discord's kind of like the end place where we all hang and we all congregate and stuff, but there's tons of stuff in there, man. Absorb what you can. Yeah, if you have questions, like I said, reach out. I'm in there. I'm sure you probably saw me posting shit earlier, possibly, or talking shit in the Discord. One of the two things. I'm always doing one or the other. All right, so yeah, let's talk about the markets. Let's talk about this week. So we talked about the possibility that, hey, man, we could open up red. Like, we got to see what U.S. is going to do. And so far on S&P, we're still in the range, right? Nothing's changed here on our SPY. We're still in the range, but we're starting to put in a little bit of like a bearish engulfing on the daily. So that's starting to raise red flags for me on the S&P. So like I said, if we lose this low, a lot of people are looking at this, and I haven't been one of those people, so I'm not going to pretend like I'm the one that said, oh, look at this. But I mean, a lot of people are looking at this as a head and shoulders pattern. All right, little head, right there, shoulder, right shoulder. And they're calling this the neckline down here. So we'll just take this line right here that I have up there, and they're calling this the neckline. So either way, you want to look at it as a head and shoulders, you want to look at it as a range the way I had it set up before. The end result's still the same. If we lose this low at pretty much, let's call it 6,800, 6,780, it's probably coming down to 6,500 at some point. We do have some pit stops on the way. Down here around 6,700, but I think ultimately this is going to be the target for the S&P. So I think it's just it's a game right now. Do we stay above this and we continue to chop up here and consolidate, or are we going to get a breakdown? I'm starting to see this a little bit more as a bear flag in the shorter term, right? See how we have a little bit of impulse down, and we're getting that consolidation. So I'm starting to like view this. This can be a potential bear flag getting ready to break down. So we'll watch this in the coming days. I think if they're going to do anything, it's going to be this week, man. Markets are teetering on the edge. I mean, the fear is there. If they're going to run this down, this would be the week to do it. If they're going to run it up, there'll be a week to squeeze a shit ton of shorts. Because a lot of people are bearish right now. And it's rightfully so. You know, we got a lot of things going on overseas. We got Iran stuff going on, tensions with them. I'm going to talk about oil in a little bit. Oil's been going up. I actually got a play on oil. It's probably going to be the most traded play out there, in the markets. But hey, whatever. We'll check it out. And then, yeah, we got this Mexico thing going on. Apparently they're burning down Costco's and shit. Like, it's crazy, man. It's like one thing after another. You ever notice when the bad news stacks, it all stacks at one time? Like, it doesn't come in, it comes in like just droves. Like, you know what I mean? You get one thing bad and all of a sudden the whole fucking world's bad. So S&P still holding on. NAS holding on barely. Same situation, man. Same range, right? We're looking for one or two things to happen here. We're either see if this is a bear flag, and we're going to slip this just like the S&P, right? Little bear flag. Are we going to start rolling over here, or are we going to start taking these highs at 25,000? If we start taking the highs at 25,000, then maybe we start looking up towards 25,350. That'll be the next major area I'm seeing. It's about the 50% point of this range as well. So it kind of hits that halfway point. We'll get above it, and then maybe we can start looking higher. But for now, we're fighting this little bear flag. So we'll see what the market gives us tomorrow. Didn't really give us too many clues today, but I'll tell you what, starting to see a breakdown in the 4 hour, right? So let's just talk about the NAS real quick. NQ, US 100. See that? High, swing low, lower high, and then we broke that low. That's a 4 hour market structure shift. If we can't reclaim this 25,000, which is that number I talked about, then I think the next step is going to probably likely down. Even if we do pull back up here, if we can't overtake this high, even if we come all the way up, this thing could still roll over and the market structure still would be poised for the downside on the 4 hour, which would probably take us back down to that 24.3 or that $24,000 low further back that we've talked about. So, and the measured move, simple. The measured move of the bear flag, if this is a bear flag, again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, will take us down to that 24,000, like almost perfectly. So it's starting to stack that maybe that's where we're headed. It's just whether they want to run it up first. But I don't know. I'm kind of seeing downside. It's hard to see upside. There are some things moving up, and we'll talk about those as well. What's up, everybody in the chat? Damn, Ben's hitting me with HD, some big earnings tomorrow. There are big earnings. The big names that I'm seeing on there, HD, CEG, AMT, Axon, HPQ. There's a few ones. So, tomorrow's going to be a volatile day. We got earnings on Wednesday, which is the real big one, the Super Bowl. That's Nvidia earnings after market. So, if you're playing stocks, yeah, we'll talk about Nvidia too, BRK. I'm going to get into that and kind of just segue into all this. When will it come back to normal from a sideways market? Think about anything like this, man. I'll be honest with you, like these sideways markets, that's 90% of what trading is, man. Just dealing with these sideways markets. Very rarely, like, you get these big moves up and down, but they come when you least expect them. So at some point it will come, whether it's an up, move up, or move down for the market. Q2, I can tell you right now, is never a bullish. It's never bullish for stocks. It's never bullish for crypto. So I think going into like April, May, I expect some downside resolution. If we're going to have downside, it's probably going to be within those months. And we're not too far away from April, man. We're going into March now. March can sometimes be a tricky month because March can start off bullish, and then by the time we get towards the end of March, we could already be starting the downtrend. So, but that was in a bull market. We're in a bear market, at least to my knowledge. And if you have evidence suggesting otherwise, type it in the chat. We can debate it. But yeah, let's go look at some stuff, man. Let's talk about some things. I want to talk about oil first, right? And there's some interesting things happening on oil here, right? So I'm going to go out to the weekly. And look, why does oil matter? Let's talk about the why first. Well, Iran. If we go to war with Iran, or let's say we decide like things escalate and it's not them just basically giving up and giving into what U.S. is demanding of them at this point, you're going to see oil go up because that's a big oil supplier for us, and we got to get it from somewhere, don't we? So oil prices will go up. We'll be losing a big supplier there. But I'm watching this falling wedge right here. If I zoom out a little bit more, I'm going to go to the monthly just so you can see a higher time frame and get a real good feel for this thing. But look, we had a little bit of a low here. I'm just going to pull this over real quick. So we had a low, deviated below it, reclaimed it, and we had an impulse. We broke monthlies, weekly highs, all on this impulse up. And we took out some major levels. So right now we're consolidating, and we're kind of getting into that area where I'm thinking like, if it's going to bounce, it's going to bounce soon. Otherwise, it's coming back down to the range low. We're so close to this 618 right here, and we swept some liquidity. Maybe we do dip down a little bit more, but right now what I'm focused on is this trend. Can we break this trend? Can we start marking up? We'll look at the weekly for this one. So can we start making our way up, taking out some of these highs around $77, $70, and then maybe potentially find some support and continue up? So I'll be watching. And I think if oil does go, it's going to happen quick. It's going to be a pop. Like it's going to be a quick move up, and then we'll get some type of pullback like I'm illustrating there, and then maybe a run up. So BTC's dumping. So big play on oil could take a while to play out. This is not an overnight play. That's just going to take weeks, months to play out. But it's just something to watch. Just confirmation of everything. This is 100% a bear market in individual stocks. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're losing your ass in Netflix. I'm sorry to hear that cinnamon toast pump. We'll go look at Netflix in a minute. Let me just kind of get through some basic charts, and then we can kind of go into some individual stocks. What's the best section for 2026? If you're looking to buy crypto, you're probably looking towards October, and I would say maybe somewhere around there in the stock market too. September, August usually mark the lows of the year in both crypto and the stocks. Maybe you'll find something there. But I can't give predictions like buy at this date. Like it's more of like you got to wait till the market's how it looks and see, you know, evaluate when we get there. So let's go take a look at gold. Gold's another big thing that's been moving. Look at the weekly chart on gold real quick before I do anything else. Look at this thing. It's been fucking up only, guys. Almost looks like a flagpole from Mario. Just running up the flagpole. Really, look, here's the thing. Simple. We had a trend. We had a bull flag. We broke out of that bull flag. We broke a level. I said if we can get above 5100, 5120, the fight, the road to the all-time high opens back up, and we're doing that right now. We're getting daily closures above it. So in the short term, look, this trend does extend out a little bit. You can probably run this up just a little bit more on lower time frames. It makes more sense because you can see I connect it from the lows here, all right? And you can actually tighten this up a little bit if you're more one of those people. It's a general idea. We start dipping back below 2120. You know, you could run it back down into this level here, potentially into the trend. Lines up with this low right here. That was a really crooked line. I'm gonna try that again, guys. There we go. So maybe down to 5,000, but I'm really looking for that 5,100 to hold to show me some strength and maybe continue up back up to that 56,000, 5,600, not 56,000. Short term, like I said, gold could pull back into this level. I actually missed the short just by like a hair. I'm a little upset about this one. I was watching this one today. It was a really easy short to catch. You see all my indicators going off? Oh, not my indicators, my alarms. Look at that. Look at that trend. Would have been a nice short to catch right here. You had a little deviation below, and then when it broke, that's when it started to pretty much fucking fall off a cliff. So, yeah, I'm thinking 5120 is probably what we're looking for gold to find some type of support. Anyways, that's gold. But I wouldn't go fading it. You know, we're going to get pullbacks. It's aggressive. It's moving up aggressively. It's natural for things like this to get pullbacks after a big move. So we're going to see what happens in the coming days. Silver's probably looking very similar to that. Let me go look at silver on the weekly real fast. I mean, look at silver. Silver's putting a decent higher low on the weekly. So maybe it's getting ready for a little push up. Maybe back up to $100. Maybe it goes a little higher and we test this wick. But, you know, these are the levels. These are the big levels on silver. The big thing we have to break, though, so we did have this little bit of inverse head and shoulders I talked about. You could see it a little bit better on the 4 hour. All right, my alarms are I'm going to set. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off all my alarms. There we go. We're not getting fucking alerts all day, guys. So look, there's a little bit of a trend, right? A little bit of an complex inverse head and shoulders, right? Talked about this one in the Discord. By the way, if you guys aren't in the Discord, check us out, tacticaledgetraders.com. It's our website. You can join the Discord from there. Just basically, it's all free to do. You just have to have an email address. You sign up. You can get portaled right to the Discord. You can get access to all of our modules and free educational courses. And also, if you're not following, give us a follow, hit that like, subscribe. And yeah, you can tune in. We're here about 6 days a week giving live content. So look, we're fighting with this level here. We still haven't taken that 92 level. So this is going to be a big level for silver, for my silver people out there, to really mark whether we're going to actually make this climb a little to the higher levels. So 92 is our ceiling for now. If we can break through that, then we open up the floodgates to, you know, potentially back to 100 or higher. In the meantime, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. Where could silver pull back to? Well, let's see what makes sense. We have a high right here on the 4 hour, right? I could probably see it on the daily too. Yeah, you can see it. It was a daily highs. We ran into it for resistance a little bit. Maybe we pull back. If we do pull back into this trend, into this resistance, or which was once resistance, now support, could be now support, we could get a bounce there. So we're looking for, you know, higher lows to form here. The idea is you don't really want to start breaking back below this level, 79. And you definitely don't want to lose the 73 level. Those are the big levels to really keep an eye on if you're bullish on silver or you're running long. You can also pull a little bit of a trend. It lines up, intersects really nicely with that $79, $80 level. So there's just some things you can throw on your charts to kind of keep an eye on what's happening and give you some you know, just some early clues. Hey, are we breaking down or are we at support? You know, those kind of things. That's what I use trends for. So that's silver, guys. Tom Lee said Bitcoin is going to 100K by February 31st. Robert Lopez is saying on YouTube. Okay. Well, um, I mean, let's get back above fucking 70K. We haven't been able to break 72K. Until we're back above 72, I don't see $100 really in the cards for BTC. Let me go to a different chart. I don't want to give you that chart. That chart has too many markups. We'll give you something fresh. I mean, look, let's just look at it from a standpoint of Tom Lee, I guess, or whoever. He's also fucking got a shit ton of Ethereum, so he's trying to keep people bullish. In order to hit 100K, we would basically need to reclaim. Starting here, we'd have to get back above 72, so that's hurdle 1, all right? We get past hurdle 1, guess what? Hurdle 2 comes into place, right around this 84, 86,000. That's the range low that we lost before we broke down. Then guess what? Before we get there, we have another resistance, and these are all daily levels at around 90. And then guess what? We got one final resistance to pop above around 97, 98. So is it impossible? No. But right now, it's hard to call upside when you got downside. So like those people that are doing that, I mean, sure. But like, how do we know where we're going to bottom out? Because let's say we bottom out at 50K. Maybe the bounce isn't back up to 100. Do we get a 100% bounce on Bitcoin? I don't think so. Maybe we get a 30, 40% bounce, but it really depends where we stop. You know, previous cycles, we've had some nice rallies, but I just don't know if Bitcoin's going to double from where it's at right now. In the short term and in the medium term, Bitcoin's in a downtrend. Look, we lost this little wedge we talked about. We said it's pretty much going to pick the direction for us, right? And we would know by this week, and it's picking down. So I was in a short. A lot of the members of the Discord were in a short. We were short today. I'll show you the actual trade we were in. If anybody's interested in trading with us, tacticaledgetraders.com. Join the Discord from there. And then you can be on your way to, you know, trading live with us if you're interested in that kind of thing. But look, we had lost VWAP right around, where was it? Here this morning. Let me mark this level off. I'm going to show you the trade that we're in. A lot of us were in trade from higher up, but just this morning, this is the trade we caught. So look, we opened up around 9 o'clock, 9:30, right there, where my blue line is at. And you can see we slammed down into VWAP. That's the 15-minute session VWAP. And then we attempted to push back up, and we were unable to do it. And you could see, look at the absorption right there on that bounce. Like, just it got sold into. This is where a lot of us were thinking going short. Why? Because we had a trend. We had a nice little bear flag forming, right? And this is what we were watching. It was in a live. It was me, Nick, a couple other people were watching the same trade. And when we lost trend, that back test that failed to reclaim, that was my trigger to go short. I think Nick was in a little earlier than that, but you know, essentially around 66.50 was my entry. And once we lost VWAP and failed to claim it, that was kind of my signal. Hey, we're going to head down for a bit. And I was targeting down here around 64.3, and that's where we hit. We went a little lower than that, but yeah, say we went a little lower, had a little initial bounce, attempted to reclaim, and now we're starting to lose it again. So this level is pretty big. If we're unable to get back above this level, look, if we're unable to get back above 64.3, which we were trying to hold, the next target is it's obvious. It's down here. It's this wick low at 60K. That's the only thing left. We talked about this. We lose this, 60K is coming. Now let's talk about a measured move, right? And we talked about this the other day. Look at that. Symmetrical triangle. If it breaks to the downside, where it breaks, look at the measured move. Takes us down to 59, 60K. So I'm not making these levels up. There's confluence in them. Now, it's not a guarantee we get there, but I'm still going to be watching. If I was looking to go long, I wouldn't be looking for longs before we get to 60K. I don't want to see this wick taken out. For now, I'm just looking for shorts. The strategy for me has been this. Wait for VWAP. When VWAP gets lost or VWAP gets retested, that's when you enter. Right now, we're below VWAP. And you can see that right here. VWAP's sitting at this resistance. And we're actually getting a back test. I got to go to the 5 minute to show you. But you see how we're getting a back test? So look, here's what I'm thinking. For the night, for anybody who's trading, you got a little bit of a trend. This is what we lost. VWAP's steadily making its way down. If we make our way back into VWAP and are unable to reclaim these levels up here around 64, 600, maybe 64, 900, right? and we start to put on a lower high, I expect us to continue down. If we manage to hold this level, then we look for a bounce, right? We look for that bounce to take us maybe back up to 65.2 is our first target, which also lines up really nicely with this. I'm going to show you right here. If you take a trend from here and just run this down, now I'm going to go into my lower time frames, right? You see where the trend lines up? So this is going to be resistance when we get up here. So until we break that trend, I can't get bullish from my system at least. I'm just trying to illustrate it out to you guys. I got a lot of lines in here. But if we can break this trend and take this high out, then we open up the gates to maybe make our way back up to retest 66.5. But we got to clear this. We got to clear this range, clear this trend, flip it, and then look a little higher. And then if we get up there, look, what are we rejecting on? Well, it's just the downtrend. No, not the downtrend, or the bottom trend of this symmetrical triangle is becoming resistance now. So just keep that in mind. For Bitcoin, for all my Bitcoin traders out there, we are in a downtrend. I'm looking for pullbacks to get short again, but I'm not getting short at support. This is how people are getting destroyed right now. How many people you think are trapped right now? They probably jumped short on this little breakdown right here and are stuck in this wick. Short. Probably a lot. I guarantee if you check the Delta candles, you'll probably see some trapped traders. And they're going to run it up and squeeze these people until they capitulate out. And when they capitulate out, that's probably when they'll end up making the real move. So, anyways. What's up, Kush? ONDS? I'll check out ONDS. Teach? Yeah. I love Bitcoin. It's easy to trade because you can short MSTR along with it. Yeah, MSTR is in the fucking dirt right now, isn't it? You just enter at the level. You don't enter on price action. I agree. But I also have my entry confirmations. I'm looking for things. If I don't see them when it hits a level, I'm not taking that trade. BTC is in a distribution cycle. Yeah, I'm not arguing with you. I said we're in a bear market. I think we're in a bear market. Losing my ass on Netflix. So let's go look at Netflix. Oh, I did say I want to look at that, right? So let's see. I'm guessing if you're losing your ass, you're probably long somewhere, because I mean that's where the real move has happened on Netflix. It looks like we just had a big breakdown in the last today. When did the breakdown start? This morning at London, and then New York continued it. So let's just get a little context on Netflix and where it may be headed, right? And this can kind of maybe help you figure your decision out. So look, higher time frames, Netflix has lost a major trend from May 2022. It's been trending up, broke the all-time high at 71, and it continued up, right? It lost that trend in the last few weeks, right there. And where has it been doing since then? Well, it's been fighting to get back above the local downtrend that we started to make. And what's been happening is the same pattern over and over. We get a bear flag consolidation, then we get a rip down. Bear flag consolidation, we're starting to get that rip. On my 4 hour, you could already see it's broken down, right? Or at least is flirting with a breakdown. And the measured move, where does it take us? We did this the other day, so that's why all my things are set up. But the measured move would take us down to this low, around $70. What's at that low? Just the previous all-time high that we broke out from. Remember I talked about that? That's the previous range high. We were ranging. This was range high, and we ripped up. And now we're trying to make our way back down there. So if we're going to find support, it's going to be at 70, from what I can see now. So I expect downside until it's not anymore. And right now, 70 is is probably the juiciest target to maybe expect a bounce. So I expect continuation down, and market structure is showing me that. Like, look, flag dump. Until that stops, man, it's going to be downside. So if you're long Netflix, just keep that in mind. I don't know if you want to hold another 6-7% drawdown to $70, but I can't answer that question for you. But yeah, man, hopefully that helps a little bit. What's up, Trending? What's up, Say One? Yeah. Gold took a nice little tumble, but it also had a nice little pump. I mean, it went up from 5,100 when it closed on Friday, shot up about $100 last night into today. So it's not bad. Nothing does go down in a straight line, but I will say this, man, we're in a different type of market right now. We're in a full fear market. Like, we're in the heart of a bear. Like, this is how bear markets play. Like, just like when things were going up and people didn't think they could keep going up and they kept going up, it feels the same way on the downside, because you're probably sidelined or you're in the opposite direction trade. You're waiting for a bounce. If you're short, you're loving it. You're just chilling. So that's Netflix. I didn't catch any shorts. I did kind of BTC short earlier, but that's all I got. I closed out. I can check out Microsoft. By the way, guys, if you're watching and you're not followed or subscribed, hit that follow, hit that subscribe, hit that like. My name is Eddie. I'm a trader at Tactical Edge Trading. Our website, Tactical Edge Traders, we have a free course, a bunch of modules with free courses. I can't even say course singular. It's multiple courses. We'll teach you how to trade. We'll teach you everything we know in the markets. And then you can join the Discord from that website. And what we do in the Discord, we live trade, we share setups. We're not a signals group. We discuss markets, we put out news alerts, things like that, to kind of keep all of our traders in tune. For our more advanced traders, people who have been doing it for a while, who understand our style of trading already, maybe look into some of the premium upgrades. We have our operator package, which it's probably best for most people who have experience trading. That's if you're just trying to get to the next level. Like, you got your strategy, but you're kind of spinning your wheels and you need to break through. We help with that. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's enough shilling for now. What I said I was going to look at Microsoft. Market smells like bear turds. Yeah. How do I not remember MSFT? I should know this. I look at so many tickers, man. Sometimes I forget. Even the simple ones. All right. Oh, man. Not looking great. All right. Let me get rid of some of my LARP lines and we'll talk about price action on Microsoft. So we talked about the CME gap that we left behind. That was a potential target around 440. We never got back up there. We actually came back down and retested this weekly trend, and we were holding for a few days, and I'll show you on the daily what I mean. You can see this trend. We were trying to establish support, and I said, as long as we can hold this, we're good. But if we lose it, we're looking for basically continuation down to 346. So right now we're starting to lose it. So what I'd be looking for at this point, one, some closures down here. If it just wicks back in here and reclaims, it's just a fake out. But for now, it's starting to look like a breakdown. So what we're looking for is, price to get some closures down here, and we're looking for that back test confirmation for the bigger move down to 346. That's where my mind goes with this one. The only way I flip bullish again, like I said, is if we can reclaim this trend and maybe start marking back up, maybe some market structure on the daily, on the 4 hour to start to form to the upside. Right now, we have none of that. So trend's down till it's not. And right now, we're beneath a macro trend. So that could just invite more downside. I hate to say it. And I marked it off. Look, that's the major level, 340, 345. If we lose that level, man, it's down to 300. And if you lose that, it's back down to 220. If you reclaim, like I said, 440 up to about 480, 475 would probably be the immediate target. And if you can break above that, then maybe you get back above and back to the highs. But it's a far target away, just like this target down here at 220. But right now, the trend is down, so we stick with the trend. So looking for shorts. And I think if this plays out, this would be a nice play. This little rejection here, maybe continuation down. We'll see. That's Microsoft. No, I didn't look at ONDS yet. I'm going to go look at that. Yo, what's up, Gucci the Bulldog? What's going on? Yearn Finance, please. Give me a second. I got to go over some other charts first. I'll get around to it, though. I'll try to get everybody's charts. Let's see. Sorry, just adjusting my headset. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this trend real quick. We'll talk about this trend. I'm going to get rid of this real quick. I don't want to confuse you guys with too many lines. It starts to just look like somebody just wrote on a fucking scratch pad. So here's what's going on. We had a trend from November, right? We were trending up. We had a nice little impulse up. We attempted to attack the all-time highs, but we never got there, right? About 15, 16 bucks. We just front ran it, and we had a pretty big dump. We're trying to find support at this $8 level. You can see the candles coming in here on the weekly. A little bit of a buy up. And what I'm seeing on the local, we broke a little bit of a trend to the downside, but it's still not confirmed yet for me. Why is it not confirmed? Because we're still beneath the trend. So we're between a rock and a hard place with ONDS. What I would look for to be bullish, a reclaim of this trend, a break of this level around 11 something. What is it, 1150? And then maybe a markup, right? That's how I get flip bullish. But if it starts to reject, and I'm going to get rid of all this shit and just kind of paint the picture. Let me just get rid of everything just so you can see what I'm seeing. So I'm going to get rid of this level here. Get rid of all this. If it looks just like this, if you're just looking at the chart just like this, probably a little bit more leaning bearish, right? Why? Because this could just be a bear flag. Oftentimes when you get these breakdowns of these trends, you'll consolidate underneath, form some type of bear flag, right? And before the bigger move down. So we're looking for that, keeping an eye out for that if we can't reclaim. Looking for the bigger drop down. And I'd have to imagine, man, the target's probably going to be down here around this $5 area eventually on the ONDS. There may be some pit stops around like $7, $8, like that $8 level we front ran. But I think ultimately the target would take us down there. Let me see what the measured move of this bear flag is. I mean, it would take you pretty much to the low. Maybe a little lower than that. So if we start breaking down, man, you know where we're headed eventually. I don't know if, inversely, if we can break back above this level here, I'm going to just draw a line so we can see and visualize. Get back above 1140 and reclaim this trend, and we can maybe go attack those highs at 1516. But for now, not looking great. But I'll give it this one. Even though we're beneath resistance, we are starting to get that daily market structure shift. So if we can put another higher low in here above this, see how we're getting the shift right here? So we want to put a higher low in somewhere. If we can do that, it looks like we could come attack this level again at 1160, 1150. So keep an eye on that. What futures? Cocoa? Yeah, I can get around to that. Yeah, no problem, schmacking. Let's look at Nvidia. Said we're going to talk about Nvidia. We got Nvidia earnings coming up on Wednesday. Let's talk about Nvidia. Sorry, I'm burping a little bit. Try not to burp in the mic. I mean, look, Nvidia's right up against resistance. I'm trying to keep up on the chat. All right. Anyway, we're in a range on Nvidia. And I'll break down what this range is after, but let's talk about the range. Our lows at 170, our highs around 194, 195. We're right there. And we're going into earnings in 2 days. So less than 2 days. So we're at resistance. I'm looking for one of two things to happen up here. I'm looking for a break or I'm looking for a rejection. The rejection can come in many forms. It can come in a breakout retest, breakout fake out. It can come in a rollover. Like there's different ways that this can, pan out. That's why I had that little illustration. But the idea is if we do sweep the liquidity up here, which would probably make a lot of sense to come sweep this 194, maybe even 195, 196. If we start to close back under this level after a sweep, I'll be looking for a short back down to the bottom of the range at 170. Now, inversely, if we can break out, find some support, there's a chance that maybe we can make our way back up to 212 at the highs. But with everything else coming down, it's very hard to see that, especially with Nvidia. I don't know, man. It's just a lot of money, and I feel like a lot of money in this asset. So if this thing starts to pump, it's going to give signals to the market that, maybe we have a chance. Maybe we can flip bullish. But I think this thing starts to roll over, it's going to be a confirmation for a lot of traders. It's probably time to get out and get risk off if they haven't already gotten risk off. A lot of people are risk off, but there's still some people who are, the bullish hopium. Which bank should I buy tomorrow? I don't know, man. I can't tell you to buy anything. NFA, brother. I don't know, man. I don't know. If you have a chart you want to look at, I can look at and give you some levels. Yeah, dude. If you, by the way, guys, if you like the stream, you're enjoying what you're seeing, you're enjoying this content, hit that like button, hit that follow, subscribe. Check us out, tacticaledgetraders.com, our website. You can get access to the Discord, access to our free modules and courses, all there. Very easy, very simple. Links are in the bio and the Discord. In the description, not the Discord. They are in the Discord too, but that doesn't help you too much. So that's what I'm seeing on Nvidia right now. So I'd be watching for the fake out up here or the breakout. So it's funny that we're just sitting here 2 days before the earnings, so it's gearing up for something. So I'd keep watching, sit on my hands. I wouldn't be entering any trades going into it because then you're just guessing. I'm gonna go take a look at Bitcoin real quick. We're starting to dump again. So remember I talked about that back test, right? On Bitcoin, come back up, retest VWAP. What'd we do? We did. Came back up, retested the VWAP. So we're losing it again. Maybe we're going to come back down for this wick here. I don't know. What else do you guys want to look at? I know I've seen a couple other ones in here. I just want to make sure I got the right stuff. While I do some stuff on the side. Check out, answer some people in chat. BBA is low. Check out the free education. Yeah, absolutely. Check out the free education on tacticaledgetraders.com. I already set games. I already went over silver. If silver can break 92, you got a shot above 100. A 92 is your big level to the upside. To the downside, you need to hold 70. 70's got to hold on silver if you want any shot up. If you start losing 70, you're going down to 54. Those are your big levels on silver. But yeah. What app am I using? Right now, this is TradingView. I'm using the TradingView app. Or website. What? PayPal. Yeah, I can look at PayPal. Let's go look at some PayPal. It's probably not going to look great. It was looking shitty the last time I checked it. All right, so we got some action on PayPal. So I'm going to talk about where we're at and why we're getting a little rejection here. So I wrote it out for you. Big gap. So we left behind a gigantic CME gap. CME gaps, I call them CME gaps. There's different words for them, gaps. It happens when the market closes on a Friday at a different price that it opens on Monday. So what that does is it leaves a gap behind in the market when the markets were closed. You could see it right here. We're starting to enter that gap, or at least attempting to enter it. And I did talk about this. I said, look, if we get back up here, that first push in there, expect a little rejection because you're going to have a lot of people going long, attempting to try to take this long back up to 52. And you got the breakout traders basically getting trapped right now. So wait for the trap to develop. We can kind of see it. They're probably going to squeeze some of these guys out before they run this up, would be my guess. See this candle right here? Like the people that were breakout trading were buying here, here, here. They already missed the move. So they're going to be exit liquidity. That's what it looks like if I had to guess. But look, trap aside, all that stuff said, let's say we start to hold up here, right? We start to establish some support. We could look to mark up to maybe $50. $50 makes a lot of sense. Why? Because it's the previous low from that range we broke down from. And it also lines up with the top of the gap. So I say any pumps, maybe 51, 52, I start to get a little defensive. We break up higher than that, then we're looking at a bigger back test, maybe back up to here. Up into this level around 57 right here. See what I'm talking about? Support, support, support on the weekly. We attempted a little bit of support, but we a little higher up, and then we broke down. And then we tried to pick it back above it and reject it. So those are your levels, 50 up to 57 to the upside. If we start to reject at any point, whether it's here, whether it's down here, your floor is at 30. That's where we'll probably end up going if we do start to roll over at any point. I said 30 is your next support. And you could see right there on the charts why it's important. So we'll see. And look, this is a head and shoulders, guys. Don't fade this. See that? It's probably going to play out. And look at my measure move takes us to. It takes us down to that 30, down to like 22, 23. Might be a little exaggerated, but I'm not going to fade it. So that's kind of what I'm seeing on PayPal. And GME. Yearn Finance. I'm going to go look at Yearn Finance. What does YF1 mean? I don't know what that means. You're going to have to... Oh, that's the ticker. So YF1ED. Shit. Let me just go look at Yearn Finance. Is this it, dude? Is this what you're looking at? That shit looks like crap if this is the right chart. This is a USD pairing. It comes in the Euro pairing. Let me know. I'm looking at Yearn Finance. If this is your chart, let me know if this is the right one. But yeah, don't look great, man. We lost that 4,100 support. And it's running down. You could see the back test right there. Look, I'll show you on the daily. It's a little hard to see on the daily because the liquidity's not there. This is it. Yeah, there's not a lot of liquidity in here, and that you can tell by how choppy it is, the candles. But you can see the back test, right, and the rejection. So you don't get back above 4,100, man, your target's down here, dude. I hate to say it. It's the only thing below us is that $100 level. You see what I mean? Look at this range, man. I'm going to go to the monthly. I want you to look at this range. The longer something's ranging and it breaks from that range, the bigger the move. This would take us all the way back down here. Would make a lot of sense. Back to this 104 level. That's the only thing below us. I mean, it's a big fucking drop, guys. It's at 28.40 right now. I don't want to sit there and pretend like it's not. I mean, this thing is volatile as all hell. I mean, look at the highs on this range up here. It sits at 15,000. From 4,000 to 15,000. I mean, we're talking about a $9,000 freaking range here. More than that. What am I talking about? $11,000 range. So for it to run $11,000 range, I don't think it dropping from 2,800 down to 100 is that crazy. It's just a volatile asset. That's your levels, man. I don't really know how to go any lower than this. If you can't get back above 4,100, man, it's down to 100. That's the next level I see on the charts. That's what the charts give us. I can maybe go to the weekly or the daily and see if that wick. No, see, there's nothing there. Straight down. So just be mindful. This one, be careful. I did Microsoft already, user 9355. Did it about 5-10 minutes ago. If you want to go check out our YouTube channel on Tactical Edge Trading Academy, you can actually go watch the replays of these lives there. They're all recorded. Welcome back to Genesis. Yeah. The USD crypto. You want... Yeah, USDT. I mean, I'm looking at it on USD. It's the same, but if I go here, it's the same, dude. It looks worse on USDT because USDT is bleeding to the dollar right now. See what I mean? It's still the same. The wick's not even there. So there's no floor for us to even see on USDT. So, I mean, I would say same levels, dude. Same levels. It doesn't matter the pairing. Go look at IBM. A lot of tech today. I think people are worried about tech. I mean, IBM had a nice fucking crash. Holy shit. It's been in a downtrend for how many weeks now? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks straight, and we're approaching a low of major interest for me, right? This low right here. Why does this low make sense? Well, we stopped here back in January of 25 and March. Those are two areas where we created like a low here. And those are lows in the market too, right? Those are low points in the market. This is the tariff low from last year, and this was the Q1 low after, like, you know, our little pump. So that's the floor, man. 214, 215 is your floor. If you start losing that, man, you open up the floodgates to sub 200. I mean, you might get a little pit stop at 200, but this is a big level to lose, and it's been straight down. So I think this is the target. We see what happens when it gets there. As far as a downtrend, man, we don't really got much to play off here. This has been straight down on IBM. Could maybe throw a little bit of a trend in here to kind of, it's not even that great of a trend. So like we're way away, we're far away from trend anyway. So just look to that 215, man. To the upside, look, you're gonna get resistance at the same spot you got resistance on the way down, right? So if you pump back up, this little undercarriage here around 25, 252. I'm sorry, 25. So let's say we do get back down here and we pump up, right? You could find resistance up here and then bang. So just keep that in mind. That's a daily trend line and some daily resistance around 250, 255. If it breaks up higher than that, we could talk about it later. I would say the next level gets dramatically higher. It's up close to 300. It's this previous range we were chopping around in, right? We were up here for quite a bit of time, right? Just doing this, and eventually it broke down. So if it made it back up here, this would be resistance. Strong resistance, too. Wouldn't be easy to break through that. So are you buying, selling, holding for the Nvidia earnings release this Wednesday? I'm new to investing. No. Let me give you a little tip, Jake, if you're new to investing. You never want to buy hold, or if you're holding long term, different story. But if you're trading and you're taking puts, calls, shorts, longs, going into an earnings, you're gambling because nobody knows what's going to happen. My best advice for you: you wait for earnings. It's will be on Wednesday around 4:30. Wait for Asia to open that night around 8 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern, and then you start to plan your move. Let it kind of like diffuse. Let the dust settle. You'll do a lot better. The move will be clearer. There's going to be some volatility in Nvidia. There always is. Just don't get caught in that. You don't want to get caught in that bullshit. So just wait. And you can always wait for a Thursday because, New York's going to want to get its piece too because New York will be closed when those earnings come out. So they're going to want to get a piece of that on Thursday. So you could always wait for New York Thursday as well if you didn't catch it during Asia, whatever the move may be. Yeah, bro. And that's a common mistake. I'm not making fun of you or anything like that. I'm just using it as an example. Like, it's a common mistake amongst newer traders, new investors. They think that big events like FOMC, your big news events, earnings are good times to catch market volatility. Yeah, there's going to be volatility. But what they don't tell you is it's a lot of stop hunts, too. It's a lot of liquidity grabs, manipulation by the market makers, by the whales. And it's best to stay away from those. Let them squeeze out anybody who went long or short beforehand. And once they're squeezed out, the market will pick a direction, and that's when you attack. The best advice I can give you. So we're looking at VRT right now. Someone asked for Vertiv. We were talking about this one. It's been in an uptrend, man. We'll go to the weekly for this one. So look, can't really fade this thing, right? 152, it broke out. What did it do? Healthy consolidation. Came back, tested it twice. Now look, remember what I mentioned? A lot of times price action on these higher time frames, it likes to come retest these breakouts. It did it twice, and then it launched again. So if you miss the breakout, you wait for the back test. You'll get a better entry, get a really good entry, and you'll have an invalidation. Versus if you're one of these people longing here, trying to catch a breakout, and then you get squeezed out, or you get put under some serious pressure. I've been there. It's not fun. But look, they broke out again. So what do we expect? Just looking at the previous price action, how it reacted. Well, bounced off the previous breakout. Well, we did the same thing here. We have a line at around 200. It's a solid number, psychological number. It also lines up with that CME gap we left behind, right? The gap to the downside around 205. So if we consolidate above this and can continue up, we don't lose this, I'd say upside's more likely. If we start to deviate into the gap, then we're probably coming down to fill it and maybe back test. And then you look for longs maybe down here if you're bullish. Or look for a bounce, rather. So those are kind of like the two plays I would see. Right now you're getting a little bit of a consolidation, but it's still too early to tell. Is this a bull flag or is this a Bart Simpson forming? You know what I mean? We don't know. And a lot of times when you're above these ranges, like see this right here. Remember I told you about the trap that they like to do going into these gaps? These gaps become support and resistance depending on what side you're entering them from. But once they're there, the market knows about them. Everyone can see them. So you see this right here, this wick? That's trap traders. That's people trying to short the breakdown. Breakout traders, retail, going into these gaps, thinking they're going to get a free ride back down to this 206, 210. And look what they did. They squeezed them out. So don't be the trap. Now, if we start to attack this again, you don't go short right there. You wait for the breakdown and you wait for the retest, and then you go short. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Play the safe move. There's always another trade. But that's Vertiv, man. Vertiv can keep going up. It looks bullish. It's just whether it comes back and back tests this $200 level first or wants to continue up from here. That's kind of what I'm seeing on that one. I wouldn't fade the trend until this thing breaks it. And if you go out to your weekly and just draw a simple line, right? Go to from this low, this swing low in April, March. That's the tariff low. Significant low for the markets, by the way. You're going to see that common theme. April, March 2025, a lot of lows are put in. And some things are above their trend. Some things are below them, like we talked about earlier, like Microsoft, for example. So as long as it's above this trend, it's bullish. We could come all the way back down, right? Let's say we do get a little pullback. We can come back down here and do something like that and still remain bullish in an uptrend. So trend's up for now on this one. All-time high is 95K. I just want Astra to crash. Laugh out loud. Yeah, Kush, I hear that, brother. All right, give me a second, guys. Everyone's just tossing things out there. I can only do one at a time. Just want to get them in order, though. JPM dumped Netflix today. Oh, JP Morgan. Were they holding a bunch of shares, K? I didn't read about that. SoFi. I can do SoFi. We did NQ trending. I did NQ in the beginning, so just go to the YouTube and check it out. You can actually, watch the recording if you want to go look at that. I want to try to keep it moving forward as much as possible today. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're watching, I got a lot of people watching here, but no one's hitting the like, no one's hitting the follow button or subscribing. So do me a favor. Why don't you guys do that? That way you get notifications next time we go live. We go live 6 days a week. It's myself and Ben, and we're giving quality content out here. Ben's got over a decade in the markets. He puts together all the educational courses in our Discord, tacticaledgetraders.com. The whole website's built by Ben. The dude's good at what he does, man. He's a genius. Genius when it comes to trading. He's not a genius at everything else. He's really good. He's good at what he does, and Nick's very good at what he does too. Nick does a lot of our back end stuff. He sets up all of our bots. He sets up all of our. He talks to all of our affiliates, all of our partners, and stuff like that. So, yeah, man, those are two big guys. If you guys are interested and you want to learn from the best, those are the two guys you want to learn from in the Discord. I'm okay too, but I don't like to brag about myself. So yeah, SoFi. Look, we're still in that same spot we talked about on SoFi. I marked this off the other day. We lost this range, right? We had a little bit of a head and shoulders kind of playing out on the daily. And we said, hey, look, head and shoulders, breakdown. We lost the key level here around 21, and we're making our way down to this $17, $18 level. Why is this significant? Well, look at the weekly. What is the theme? Everything's retesting those previous breakouts. So if one gets a bounce, you're probably going to see a lot of them get bounces. But right now we haven't gotten to that level yet, so we can't even determine if the bounce is going to happen. So until we get down to this 1741 level, it's down. We're getting close. Do we have divergences? It's hard to tell. It hasn't really confirmed yet. They're trying to print divs, but it's still bleeding out. So I wouldn't go too crazy on this one just yet. Just wait to see what happens down here. Wait for market structure to form. If this is a low, you're going to see something kind of like I illustrated, right? Right here on this little LARP line. You maybe see a bounce. You maybe see a little bit of a bounce, and then you'll maybe see a sweep and a reclaim of that level, and then maybe a continuation up. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for that with divergence at a key support, and you're looking for market structure to shift. Market structure is very important. If you don't know what market structure is, I'll be honest with you. It's like not knowing how to write with the alphabet, like learning to write English but not understanding the alphabet. That's the equivalent in my mind of market structure in the markets. So you're not really trading if you don't understand market structure. You're just basically, you can have support and resistance, but you don't really know how to spell it out. Is what I'm saying. Let me see something real quick. Oh, I got magnet. Don't want that. Yeah, the downtrend's strong, dude. So you got a little bit of a downtrend here. I can go to the 4 hour, kind of verify that for you, right? So any bounces down here at 1741, your resistances are now going to be these levels. You're going to have major resistance here around $20, psychological level, right? But it also lines up with what? This trend line. So if we did get a bounce in the short term, right? Let's say we did bounce here or we came down and bounced first. A push up into this level that I talked about is going to be resistance because it's lining up right now with this trend. So you're going to look at that trend as dynamic resistance, and you're going to look at around $20 as resistance. If we do go a little higher than that, then you have around $22 as your next level. And you could see that was the level right here that we lost. It was support before, we lost it, flipped it into resistance. So anything that turns into resistance that was once support now becomes resistance again when you're on the underside of it. Little tip. What was once support becomes resistance if you lose that support. If you break resistance, it becomes support when you break it. The higher the time frame, the more weight you put on those levels. Just a little tip for anybody new. Tell us some bullish news on TMQ. I'll go look at TMQ. Is TMQ bullish? What's up? I know that's Arabic, but I don't read Arabic, so I can't say your name, but hi to you too. I am half Palestinian, and I'm a bad Palestinian because I don't speak Arabic. Guessing. Is that the time that is extremely down? Is that the time to buy? I mean, look, dude. Nvidia's not down though. That's the thing, man. Nvidia's not down. Nvidia's not that far from its all-time high, from where it's come. So I mean, you got to zoom out a little bit and see perspective. Like, are we down? Not really. We're pretty much near the bull market highs, and a lot of things have already entered a bear market. So Nvidia is just lagging a little bit. I think if everything else is coming down, Nvidia is probably going to follow. Probably should be leading it, to be honest, but it's a stronger asset. People are holding on to it because it's a staple. It's been the driver of the bull market. Like every time Nvidia earnings came out, if Nvidia continued up, we continued our bull market. Like tech follows Nvidia, Bitcoin follows tech. That's just how that works. Let's see. All right, I'm going to go look at his TMQ because someone said it's bullish and I'm giving too much bearish news out. So let's just chill. It's metals. That's not fair. Metals, of course metals are going to be fucking positive. All right, so look. Let's get some perspective on this, right? We TA'd this before, so we have a little bit of idea what was going on. So look, we're bouncing off support around 346. It also lines up. One, it's a support. It's a weekly low, right? So that's a big level right there. It also lines up because look, what did we do? What did we put in? We put in a gap from 240, really all the way up to here around $6, but we reclaimed a lot of that, right? We came back down and we grabbed a lot of that gap. The only thing left is down here around 240, 250 left, but we're catching a bounce. And when I said these things turn into support resistances, and it also lines up at a weekly low. So for now, I think this is a good support to kind of keep our eyes on. Now, what's the target? We got to go to a lower time frame to kind of see this one. So we have an inverse head and shoulders kind of forming there. That's a normal accumulation reversal pattern, whatever you want to call it. And we do have a CME gap right above us. And you can see it on the daily. It's not showing up on the 4-hour, but it is on the daily. And it sits here up to about 418. So that could be the target in the short term, right? Let's just mark it off and go see what else lines up with that gap on Trilogy Metals. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my 4-hour. So we're pushing into that gap now, right, that we just marked off on the daily. You can't see it on the 4, just because of the way the candles were when it gapped. But because the 4-hour, I'll tell you the trick why you can't see it on the 4. Because the 4-hour shows futures data. The daily doesn't. So if it's trading futures on the weekend, it's not going to show those gaps on the 4-hour and lower. But if you're on the daily, they don't show the futures data. So that's why the gaps show up. So sometimes you got to flip back and forth with these things. But yeah, we're pushing into resistance right now, man. This is going to be resistance all the way up to about, I would say, 420. If you can start breaking back above this gap, you have a little bit more to go, maybe potentially up to about 340, 338. But this is another weekly, daily level. Oh, it's a daily level, really. It's a daily high right here. See this daily high, that wick? But it also lines up that, look at that. See, with support. This is the range we broke down from, and we rolled over. We tried to back test it, and we came down. This is going to be major resistance on the upside. So this is how you play this. Support's down here around 340. If you lose the support around 340, you're coming down to fill this gap around 250. If you continue up and the bounce continues, right, where are you looking? Well, you're looking up to this level first. If you can break this level, let's say it does, break that level, then you're looking for the next level up, which sits around $5. And that was a major resistance back here in December and into Q1. So those are your levels on TMQ, but it does look good. I will admit that much. It does look more bullish, a little bit better than everything else, but it also did come a long way. So for it to take some back wouldn't be crazy. Like, markets don't go in a straight line. Most markets. Rule of thumb, never buy a stock under $20. I don't know, man. I don't really have rules of thumb like that. I mean, about like when not to buy it. It's more of like, where on the charts do I buy it? If it's buy support and it's a weekly support, maybe a monthly support, I might buy it if it's under $20. But you need a moon rocket. I mean, it looks okay, man. How long? Where are you long at, Gucci? Looks like Tesla started its downtrend. Let's go look at Tesla. By the way, guys, I got a bunch of people watching, and no one's hit that like. So let's hit that like. Follow, subscribe if you want more content like this. Get notifications when we go live. You can also check us out, tacticaledgetraders.com. We have free content on the website, free educational courses you can take. You can also gain access to our Discord there for free. You just need a email address. Links are in the bio, guys. RBot. Let me go look at RBot real quick. Someone's asking for that. Why are you embarrassed? Don't be embarrassed to ask about a chart, dude. Or lady. So it's going to break it down real simple for you. Just keep it as simple as possible, right? That's your previous range. You're beneath it. I don't see any bullishness until we get back into this range at 450. In the meantime, you're just looking to the downside. I mean, this thing's going to continue down until it doesn't. But that's the range you need to reclaim. You see what I mean? Like, we're holding this range for 2 years, 3 years, and we lost it. So this is now going to be resistance. This 450 up to about $5 is resistance. So any pushes up, I'm looking for potential rejections here, right? If we manage to reclaim the trend, or not the trend, the range, then you start looking to maybe mark back up. Start with the midline, wherever you see all these resistances coming in. I could probably even draw a volume profile, right? Probably give us a good... That doesn't work. Volume profile, it picks up what you have, but this data skews it right here, and it puts us down at the value area low here, which makes no sense because price was trading up here. But I'm just going to go with the visuals on this one. $5 reclaim, maybe you get back up into these higher levels. You got some resistance around, and this is a monthly chart, by the way. You got weekly, monthly, and daily resistance at 750 if you do reclaim that $5. And then your next level up from there is around $13, $14. So those are your levels on RBot. Looks, it's down till it's not. Don't fade the trend if you're long. You know, consider that. You got a little bit of a trend developing here. It's not confirmed yet because we don't have 3 touches, but it's something to watch. If we do push up, let's say we do push up into, and I love when trends intersect with major horizontal levels. So let's say we do push up into this resistance we talked about, around $4.50, $5. You also have that trend there. So that's something else to watch that can also serve as resistance. You know, trend traders might come in and try to buy or short this right there. So just keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, appreciate that, Kush. Listen to Kush if you're watching. Hit that like, subscribe. Don't be a jabroni. I haven't heard that word in a while. Jabroni. So let's see. All right, we talked about that Nvidia. But if it goes down after earnings, thanks for the advice. No problem, man. No problem. They're usually trash. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm going to agree with that one. I see NIO. What is NIO? What is this? Whoever asked for this, just tell me what it is. Give me like a quick description. What this is. What sector is it? Is this tech? Is this... What am I looking at? I mean, it looks like it's bottoming out. I'll say that much. Same scenario here, right? We got a range high. We have range low, right? So we're consolidating in a range right now. And we're putting our first higher low in. For a while, we attacked the high, came back. We're putting a higher low in. We swept this low right here. Or actually, we front ran this low. So you see this low right here? It's a weekly low. We front ran that. So I'd imagine that's going to be support around 440 for now. If we lose that 440, we're coming back down to this low at around 320, 330. As long as we're above this, I mean, look, maybe we'll come back and attack the high again. There's not much between us and that. And you can see every time we get above this level, look, I'm just going to show you in the previous what happened, right? Every time we've gotten above this level here, what has price done? The same thing. I'm just going to draw this line straight across. Every time it's above it, it shoots to the top, right? Above it, shoots to the top. So if you put a higher low in, chances of coming back up here, pretty high. But we'll see. It's a pretty big range right there. I'm going to go into a lower time frame, see if I can find any more confluence. This is a daily here. So look, here's the bull case. You're starting to break structure on the daily, right? So that's a good sign. You bottomed out here. You put a high in right there. That's your little flag. You put in a swing low right there, and you broke that high right there. That is a daily market structure shift, right? So What's the measure move of the flag? We start with that first. Maybe that takes us back up to this high around $5-6, right? Major level for us to attack, so that makes a lot of sense. So that crosses, that checks a box for me, right? Look at that. See? Boom, boom. So this bull flag could take us back up here. If we pop that level, that would probably open up the gates for us to make our way back up to $8. So in the shorter time frames, like, the lower time frames, this is where we have to really break, is that $5.86 level to really gain a runway back up to $8. So we'll see how that. Just track this one. I wouldn't go long in this now. If you didn't catch it back down here, you probably missed out. Maybe wait for a back test. You are developing a little bit of a CME gap that we can see right here. I'm going to show it to you. See this little gap right here? You can see it on the daily. Could be a back test to take this gap out, right? We'll put the gap in here, and then we'll go down to the 4-hour and look at it. So maybe they come back down here and retest this. What does this gap also line up with? If I slide that over there, what does that line up with? The breakout. That's the breakout high. Just ignore that wick. Let's just focus on this level here around $5. But if we come back down here and we can hold this $5 level, maybe we fill this gap. We have another little gap here too. Look. Right there. So maybe we come back down here and fill this $5 level gap and then see if we can continue up from there. So wouldn't be too surprised if we came down. The key is to not lose this low here around 480. Right? That's the swing low that we put in on the daily. Any higher lows from here would complete the market structure shift to the upside on the daily, and that would keep us going, right? We don't want to lose that low. We can also start to maybe see like a trend developing, right? Look at that. All right, we got 1 touch, 2, 3 touches on the 4-hour. Also lines up. Let's say we did start to drop back down, right? Maybe we do this. Boom, right? Lines up with that $5 level. We fill that gap. Could be a play. Could be something to look for. So any pullbacks, I want to see that hold. We start slipping back below this $5 level, we start losing this trend, then I think we have to look a little bit lower. You know what I mean? We have to look back to the lows. But as long as it's above this trend, as long as it's continuing to create market structure up, I think $8 is, or at least $6 is in the cards. And then if we break 6, we can get to 8. So that's NIO. I have no idea what I'm looking at. What's up, Parker? How are you? Parker's like one of the youngest people on our Discord right now. But I'll say this about Parker. Parker's asked questions. Parker's in there. He's interested in this stuff. He's given himself a good head start into like understanding the financial markets. It's never too early to start. I don't think Parker trades with real money, but he might be trading on demo accounts right now. I'm not sure. I'd have to ask. But yeah, we usually don't tell people to trade if they're new to trading. We tell them to use demo accounts. Don't use real money. You don't want to take that risk until you develop a system and you know that it's proven over time. Look at bonds, TBT. You could look at that. So NIO Incorporate designs, develops, manufactures, and sells smart electric vehicles in China, Europe, internationally. Thank you, whoever that was, whether that was Ben or Nick. I appreciate that. I'm just going to call them Jamie. You know how Joe Rogan says Jamie? Jamie, look that up. Hey, what's up? Hi from Singapore. Hi from Philadelphia. We have, I had to go shovel 12 inches of snow today out of my driveway. It took me about 2 hours. That was not fun. So, I fucking hate snow. Let me go look at that. Did I look at TBT? No, I didn't. I said it out loud. I didn't look at it. So let's look at some bonds. What's the bond market doing right now? Lehman's 20-year. Oh, this looks a little bearish, dude. Maybe bullish on it. Let me just fuck around real quick with some trends and see if I can find something. By the way, it's my first time looking at this thing, so I'm just trying to like analyze it as we go. So if you see me putting trends down and moving them, that's because I haven't seen this thing before. But look, I mean, range lows down here. I'm going to point this out. Range lows sitting somewhere around this level here. And we've lost range high. We've deviated slightly, right here with this little wick. We swept the liquidity, and then we're starting to come back down. So we're losing the trend. We're beneath the trend that's been developing from this high here. Not by much, but enough, right? Starting to put in a lower high here. So if we can't reclaim this trend and we can't reclaim this high around $35, I think $29 is in the cards That's probably where it's headed to. If we lose 29, then you start looking down here around 26. Then you can start, kind of shifting it down. Stick to your weekly levels, your daily levels on these things. You don't want to be looking for 15-minute levels. That should not going to hold. But this is probably where you're headed to. Is around, I would say, first stop around 29 if you start to lose these lows. The one thing I want to mention is this neckline that we're developing right here, right? I'm going to use just a singular trend, nothing major, just to kind of mark this off. But see this right here? That's a floor we were developing. We lose that floor, that's your signal that we're hitting 28, 29. Like we're probably coming down there. So just keep that in mind. If we start breaking back up, then maybe we come back up here and test these highs around 39. But we'd have to get back above 35 and this trend first reclaim before we can see anything like that. Let me go out to the monthly real quick. But I don't think this thing is necessarily bearish. It just could be consolidating, Maybe it's going to come back down, sweep the range. A lot of times you'll see before a move up, they'll come down, take liquidity, and then they run it up. You know what I mean? They want to stop everybody out before they run it up. And we are developing a little bit of I don't want to say this too many times, but a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders potential right there, right? So the idea is we really don't want to lose this shoulder here around $26, $28. This low, we want to kind of hold this low intact. If we can keep this low and keep this right shoulder formed, any breakouts back above $40, this high here, I'm going to just drag this over so you guys can see what I mean. Essentially this high right around here, around $40. It opens up the floodgates for us to make our way up, probably maybe up to 52 and then maybe up to 83. I'm going to take a measured move and see if any of that lines up. All right. Could get us up to like 70, the measured move of the flag, or the inverse head and shoulders. But yeah, those are your levels to the upside. If you do manage to break that $40 level, you're looking up here first around 52, and then maybe you get up here. Maybe you get up to 82. So keep it simple. Look at your higher time frame levels. And if you're trading this, throw your alerts there. By the way, guys, if you're not following, hit that follow, hit that subscribe, like. We do content 6 days a week just like this. We go over the markets. We talk about plays. We look at levels for you guys. If you're interested, check us out, tacticaledgetraders.com. It's our website, free educational courses on there, and also our portal to our Discords there, which you can join for free. And you can talk to me, Ben, Nick, and all the other traders that are in there. A lot of full-time traders, traders of all levels. We have beginners, we have intermediate, we have full-time. Guys who've been in the markets and, are making a living off this. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, check us out, tacticaledgetraders.com. All right. So that's TBT. Good reverse head and shoulders. Could be. It could be. It's still developing. I think this trend here is going to kind of serve you a little bit of like a clue when you're getting ready to break out, to just keep monitoring that trend and watch that support. That's what I would do. Let's see what else. Did I miss anything? ACHR. I did miss that. Let me go look at that. What is that? Archer Aviation. Oof, I did some TA on this, but this thing don't look too hot. I'll be honest with you. We're holding a level. I'll give you that one. We're holding the major level, right? But barely. It's like by the skin of our teeth. So you can see the previous high right here. Sorry if I'm covering my mouth. Previous high, around $7, right? We broke out. We back tested. We held. We're back testing. We're holding. And we're now hitting it again. If we lose this level, it's down here. It's the next it's the next logical level. We do have some intermediate stops on the way, right? But if I'm looking for major levels, I'm looking down here around $3. If I'm looking for pit stops on a lower time frame, maybe like a daily, I'm looking here around $5.50. You see why that is important? Resistance, support on that big wick. If we did come down here, the first obvious place would be to grab that wick, and maybe we catch some support there. We lose that level, we're coming down to 3. If we can hold this level at around $6-7, and gain some market structure, start to like make our way up, then we open up the gates for us to maybe come back up here and to attack this high here. This high at $9, you could see 1, 2, 3 times and we reject it. This is going to be the big level to break. We break that, we open up the floodgates, right, to go up. If I drag this over, just look at every single time, right? I love doing this because it's so simple. But look, every single time we're above this line, where does price go? $12, $14, $13.50, 1450. It gets into those teens. So that's the gate. Basically, that's how we get to higher levels. Anything below that, we're just in this range. Anything below this level, and we're starting to mark down. So those are your levels on Archer. I could look at Hood. Gene, sure thing. Is Hood still fucking shit in the bed? Hood's been popular lately. I mean, a lot of people asking for Hood. Just makes me think a lot of people are trading it. I mean, there's been volatility. Let me get rid of some of these lines here because I drew these out yesterday. Kind of keeping an eye on BTC in the background right now because I do want to look for a trade. It is Asia. Asia's been open for what? How long? About an hour and a half. About like 7, 8 o'clock they open up. So look, Hood, major level. We're almost there, but we're not there yet. This is $70, oh, 65 actually, $67 level. We're hitting a level right now that really is nothing. The reason I have this line marked off is because we bottomed out here, right here. We have what, two attempts at this low. This is going to be the third. If we lose this, we're coming down to that 67 where I would look for a bounce. That's probably the first place I'll be looking for a bounce here. If we gain acceptance back below this level, just going to paint the bearish picture, right? If we don't bounce and we gain acceptance, this becomes resistance and we start to look down to $136, $38, this low here. If we can hold here, then we open it up to maybe move up. I'm going to show you some levels that I'm watching to the upside just so you can have both directions. You have a CME gap that we haven't filled yet. We left it behind here. You can see that right there. See the gap? So that sits around $80 up to about 85. If we push up, that's resistance, $80. If we break 80, we're probably pushing back up to 85, maybe 88, this high up here. But first we need to find a floor. Right now, it's not looking like that. Trend's down, and it's going to stay down until it's not. So just keep that in mind. And it's also looking a little bit bearish. I mean, look at the pattern. Like, we're hitting support 3 times here, and we haven't taken liquidity. We put a low, higher low, higher low. This is all stacking liquidity to the downside. So if they were going to sweep, they have targets, and they have liquidity to go for. So we got to retrace the big move we made last year. Yeah. Let me see Hood last year. Yeah, look at that, man. That was off tariff lows. Remember I talked about the tariff lows, that April, March low of 2025? Every single stock, I promise you can do this on. You take a trend from that low, run it up, and you can see exactly when things flipped. And it's flipped here. We topped out, and then we basically lost the trend back in November. And we've been downtrending since November. Actually, we topped out in October, so the high was in October 6th, which is crazy that it's October 6th, the week of that. It's the same week that crypto topped out, like Bitcoin and stuff. It's interesting, right? But I guess Robinhood's a lot of retail traders too, so who knows what they're trading over there. But those are the levels on Robinhood, man. Yeah, you said, yup, silent builders, yeah. Nvidia looks, they all look the same. It's crazy. And like, why do they all look the same? It's because they're all following the big dogs. They're following the S&P, right? You can take the trend. Remember that April low I talked about? Look at that right there. You can run that trend all the way up. And I can go in on my daily, and you can see exactly when the S&P broke. I mean, it broke a little later, right? And but we still topped out in around the same time, around this October high. And yeah, we swept it slightly, but we swept it not cleanly, is what I'm going to say. So I'm going to show you why on the S&P, and then you can kind of translate this. But what were we doing when we put this high in? We started developing bearish divergence. I'm going to go to my weekly. Do you see that bear div? If you don't know what a bear div is, join the Discord. I'll teach you. But for my people who do know, I'll give you a brief, who don't know, I'll give you a brief description. A bear div is when momentum is doing the opposite of price. Price is moving up here, momentum shifting down. That is showing you the behind the scenes of what's happening. If momentum shifting down but price is moving up, that means people are starting to do the opposite of what price is doing. Now we call that a divergence. That is usually the first sign. It's a leading indicator of reversals. It's the first thing you look for. And we're there. We're getting there. So everything's kind of following suit with these bad boys. You got NQ doing the same thing. I can draw the same trend. Look, that low from April 2025. You can run a trend straight up. Look at that. Now they look a little different, but ultimately the same, right? We lost the trend. We back tested. We failed it. This one ran up a little higher. NQ did go up a little higher, but ultimately it's slipping the trend. So, but they haven't really lost major support yet. They haven't lost their bigger lows. So with these, like NQ and S&P, they're going to be the last to go. Why? Because we got pensions. You have people putting money into their retirement funds every paycheck, automatically going in. So it's getting a constant flow of money. But at some point, the glass is going to break. The floor is going to, the rug is going to get pulled, and these things will come down. Divergences are just telling us that it's a matter of time. So the China tariff, CRM has been blown out for a while. Kind of skeptical and making a position on it. CRM. What are you looking for, Kush? PAC? PAC? I could look at that. This? Oh, yeah, you're talking about this in the Discord. Grupo Aeroportuario, I don't know, Del Pacifico. Why is this? Yo, you got to refresh my memory. Why is this significant again? There was something going on with it. You sent me an article. All right, look at that. So this shit goes back from 2020. So I'm just going to draw some lines real quick, get some, right? We got that trend right there going from 2023. So the uptrend is still intact. We got some significant levels. Shit, this stuff going on with Mexico. Okay, that makes sense. You got that high there, and you got this high here. Notice I do my TA almost always the same. It's like trend lines and identify weekly levels. Then I start to go to lower time frames, right? Pick a system, figure out what works for you, and just do the same thing over and over, and you'll get consistency. So everybody has different ways to mark their levels, but, find one that works for you. If you're having trouble finding one, we'll help you. Could just check us out, tacticaleducators.com. Or just subscribe, follow, like. Check out these streams, and you can just pick it up as we go over it. I do the TA live for you guys so you can learn as we go. You can figure this out as we go, and I'll talk about it if you ask questions too, if you have more in-depth questions. But look, we got a trend here, a daily trend from the low where we bounced. We're flirting with it right now, right? See, I'm kind of building a picture. So what's our support? Our most immediate support is this 271 that we're bouncing on, right, on the 4 hours. You got 1, 2, 3 taps. What is that? That's the previous high right there. Simple. So if we lose this and we lose the trend, we're probably coming back down to 258, 260. That's the next logical level. So lose this, you're down here. You hold this, you probably make your way back up to attack these highs again. And maybe you continue the uptrend. Maybe you double top. Maybe you put a lower high in. We won't know until it happens, but that still gives you the bulls a little bit more control in the short term. So that's the way I look at that. And you got this trend. You slip that 272, you're coming down to 258. You slip that 258 and you gain acceptance back into here, into this range here, where we 258 down to, I'm going to go to the daily for this, down to this high that was previous high around 200. That's a range. I'm going to take out all the trends, right? I'm just going to go all the way back down to here. All the trends and just look at it as just range to range. If we gain acceptance back into this range, we're probably coming back down to these lows around 200. So the idea here is to stay bullish. You really want to hold this 250, 260, this 259, 260 level. And then we have our shorter time frame levels to kind of watch on the 4 hour and the different time frames. So those can give us some clarity too, and some early signs of like when, the trend might be weakening. And right now it's starting to flirt with it, but we haven't broken it yet. So this thing is still bullish till it's not, right? You're leaving behind a little bit of a crime scene. See this wick right here? I mean, that seems like an easy target for them to come back for. Getting that higher low, you left the CME gap from up at 296 down to about 293 up here. You see that gap we're talking about? So that they may come back and fill this at some point. So that could be a target for us. But that's your levels on PAC. Let me know if I missed anything, if you want a different time frame, Kush. LAC. I can look at LAC. Let me go take a look at that for you. Amazon head and shoulders. Yeah, Amazon wasn't looking too great, was it? Let me go look at LAC. What time is it? 9:30? Yeah, it's about that. So, LAC, we're sitting above this CME gap, right? Same thing we've been talking about with a lot of these. I think I might have looked at this one earlier. No, I didn't. It just looks like something else I looked at. So CME gap, right? Below us. So if we lose this 434, we're probably coming back down to reclaim some of this gap or all of it, which could take us back down to 350, right? So supports here, it needs to hold around 430, 440. Now to the upside, your big level is above us at $7. So it's a pretty big range. There are some intermediate levels, like, in between there that could, be resistance. For example, you have this high here around $5. That's probably going to be the first level you're going to want to break out of if you want to see any bullish, any bullish movement. But you're starting to get a little bit of a trend here, right? We're starting to get maybe a little bit of an Adam and Eve double bottom. It's not formed yet, but look, see, we get the trend. If I go to my daily, what am I seeing? Well, maybe an Adam and Eve, possibly. If this starts to break up, it'll confirm. Let me see something real quick. If there's any bullish divergence, there's a little bit of bullish divergence, right? Going into this low here, you can see momentum start to shift up on the daily. Let me see if the weekly gives anything. Nothing really on the weekly. 4 hour. We got anything on the 4 hour? We got some bullish divergence on the 4 hour on this low. Look, low, lower low. What did momentum do? Momentum start to shift up. So this is a significant level. So this is a good support, 430. So watch this trend. If we break this trend, I think you're going to get back up to $5. You break $5, you start looking up higher. Simple. And then the idea is not to lose this 430 if you want to stay bullish. If you do, you know where we're going. So I'll keep that one simple. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, a lot of them have it, man. And you know what? They all formed around the same time, too. Like right in that September, October, when we when things started getting bullish for the stock market, they all formed around that time. So we're just coming back. I'll take a look at silver again. We did look at silver earlier. I did a pretty good analysis on it in the first 20 minutes of the stream, but I will do a quick overview for you since you missed it. Look at BTC is trying to hold here. It's fucking around at this range low. Putting in some bullish divergence too. They might actually make them. Let me see. Are we back above VWAP? Sorry, I got a little distracted because, like I said, I'm trying to keep an eye on BTC tonight. I want to see what Asia is going to do. So look, we're breaking back above VWAP here. What I'm looking for a BTC trade, because we're getting back, we're fighting with this support, right? And we're trying to get back above support. What I would look for is a back test before I would get in. So we get back above VWAP, which is right here. I know it's really hard to see, but we just broke it right there, that yellow line. So how Asia plays these things and how I like to play Asia, I look for the breakup, what we're seeing now, and I wait for the pop, and then I wait for the back test. I get in on the back test. If we don't get a back test of VWAP, I'm probably not going to take a trade. Because what Asia likes to do is they like to establish the trend. Whether it's just a trend to reclaim, liquidity to the upside, they do that by using VWAP because they reset VWAP around 7 p.m. Eastern. That's when VWAP resets, and they get to dictate which direction they want to head. And VWAP's our first clue as day traders. So we're watching BTC here to see what happens. I appreciate you, Davio. If you're not, if you're not following us, follow us, man. I go live myself 3 days a week. Ben goes live 3 days a week. We do market analysis like this. You can also check out our Discord, tacticalhedgetraders.com. We have links to the Discord from the website. You can also get free trading courses if you want, free market courses on the website. And if you want to join the Discord, it's free to do. The portal's at the website. Links are in the bio. And yeah, man, say what's up if you do join. My tag's Unfair Philly in Discord, so let me know if you're there. Love to have you. So yeah, I'm watching this low here on BTC. Let's go to silver real quick. I'm going to go look at my silver chart. Let me get rid of VWAP real quick and go out to the higher time frames. Okay, so we were talking about silver here. It's fucking crazy, right? There's a lot of TA that I went over, but the idea is simple. We broke this trend, little inverse head and shoulders, right, on the 4 hour. Right now, we've broken highs. So look, structure is broken. Market structure looks good on the 4 hour. Could we get a pullback here? Sure. If we were to get a pullback, where we want to hold? Well, one, we want to hold this trend, and we want to hold that $78, $79 level. Ideally, we don't want to deviate below 72. We start breaking back below 72, invalidate this head and shoulders, And then we start to make our way back down to this 64, 65. Truthfully, if you break 72, I get bearish. I'm going to tell you right now, like the minute it breaks 72, I'm already writing off that like the lower high has been put in and this thing's probably making its way back down here to this $50 level. Not to get super bearish because we're far away from that, but if we lose this trend and we start to lose this low, let me clear this up a little bit. So let's get rid of that. So we don't want to lose these levels. We start doing this, I'm getting a little worried, you know? Start doing that, then we're probably coming down. And we don't want to do that. Stay above. In the short term, look, your resistance is a big one, but it sits at 92. If you can break back above 92, you open up the floodgates to go back up to 100, 110, maybe even 120. But it all starts with breaking this level at 92. Anything below that, you know, this can continue down. This could just be consolidation, a bounce, you know. So we'll see. Let this play out. Maybe in the next couple of days we'll have resolution. That's silver. What's up, Sympath? How often do you do this? I go live 3 days a week. Ben goes live 3 days a week. Ben's another trader in the group. Him and Nick started the Discord themselves. TacticalEdgeTraders.com is our website. If you're interested in actually joining the website or the Discord, it's free to join. You can do that all from the website. But yeah, we're live here 6 days a week. So hit that follow, hit that sub. Yeah, and get the notifications when we go live. Usually around the evenings. We typically push it around 8 p.m. to about 9 p.m. is usually when we start because most people are home from work by then. Depending on if you're West Coast, because we have a lot of people from the West Coast. I'm myself from the East Coast, so right now it's like 9, 10 o'clock for me, but yeah. Amazon. Somebody did ask for Amazon. Appreciate you reminding me. All right. I got a lot of TA on Amazon. All right. Let's get rid of some of my LARP lines and we'll start from scratch, right? Let's start from scratch. So remember we talked about these lows. Go back to April or March of 2025. In most stocks, you're going to find a significant low and you could probably run a trend up. Now look, what's the first bearish sign? We lost the trend. We lost a year-long trend. And we had a pretty convincing impulse down. So what do I expect in the short term? One, this is going to be resistance. This level now that we're up against, 212 is resistance. If we break 212, we can maybe mark up a little bit. There are some levels for us to attack on the way back up, and they are CME gaps. We talked about CME gaps. We know what they are. Market closed on a Friday and left behind a gap from when it opened on Monday. And those are a lot of times are like breadcrumbs where price likes to make their way back to collect those. So we got gap 1, which we're finding resistance on. All right, and then we have gap 2 up here, a little bit higher up, around 230, around 226, 230. Both areas we could target to the upside if we do get a bounce. But first, it all starts with us reclaiming that 212 level. We need to get back above 212, and then we can open up the gate for these levels here. So short term, get it back above that level. You're starting to consolidate here, but we still haven't breached anything, so I can't get bullish just yet. So until we get back above this level, I'm not bullish. Support still sits at sub 200, around 196. All right, you can see down here. 1 tap, 2 tap, that's support. We deviate below that, we start going lower than that. I mean, man, we open it up back down to 180, potentially down to 165. Maybe the full sweep of this entire liquidity curve, all right? So that's Amazon in a nutshell. Head and shoulders on the 1 hour. Let me go look at the 1 hour. On Amazon? You're talking about the inverse. I got you. You're talking about this. I saw it too, but, I want to see first. None of this matters, by the way. None of this matters if you don't break 212. That's the neckline. It has to break neckline to be validated. So even if we want to call it a inverse head and shoulders, we want to call it a range, whatever we want to call it, this has to be broken. But I do like where your head's at. I like the idea of inverse head and shoulders, right? And where would that take us if we broke it? It'd take us back up to the CME gaps. Take us right back up to 226, right? And that would make sense. So it starts with 212. Oh, nice. What time is it where you're at, Parker? Rates are falling. Rates are falling, man. Yeah, I mean, almost 10 p.m. Yeah, you're East Coast like me then. Yeah, that's where I'm at. So look, guys, I think I'm probably gonna cut it short here. We've been streaming for about an hour and 35 minutes. I did look at SPY, but I'll look at it one more time before I go. I did do SPY already, so SPY. Look, if you're ever tuning in, SPY is usually one of my first go-tos on a market. I always start with the SPY, and I always start with the S&P. Not S&P. Bitcoin, SPY, gold, and NASDAQ are usually my top couple. So look, SPY. This level is your support. Head and shoulders potential, that's your neckline around 6780, 6800. So as long as you're above that, you're good. You start breaking below this, you're going to probably open up the gates for 6500 down to these lows here. In the meantime, right, and get rid of this trend line. Your resistance still sits up here. The level to break is the high around 7K. So right now you're just in a range at the end of the day. Right, but it does look like it could be forming a bear flag. So I'm monitoring. I'm not short. I'm not long. I'm just monitoring right now. If this thing starts to break up from these levels here, starts to break back above 6,900, this level right here, you're probably coming back up to test the highs. Failure to do that, right, probably results in a rollover back down to the range low. You lose the range low, like I said, you're going to make your way down. Maybe you stop here at this low here around 67. You know, maybe we get a little bounce, back test, and then continuation down. So that could be a potential play on SPY. But, I mean, for now, I think we just got to watch, man. The major levels, 6780 and 7,000. Anything above 7,000, continuation up. But I'd say, you know, it's looking a little bit more heavy than it looks, you know. Everything else is pretty much telling me this wants to come down. It's just waiting. Yeah, no problem, user. I did check out silver and what is LLY, man? I have no idea what that is. All right, this is my last one, guys, and I'm jumping. All right. It could be a bull flag potential, right? We don't know yet, but it could be a bull flag. We're holding above. What are we holding above? Previous all-time high. We had our breakout right here. Look, bull flag. Breakout. So right now we're getting the back test of the all-time high. Price is going to do a few things here. Could do a few things. We can continue to consolidate, find support, and then continue up. Or we could come back down and start testing lower levels. The first level to the downside I would be watching would be the breakout right here. When we broke that flag, that high we put in around 835, 833, that would probably be the level if we lost 970 we would go down to. Why? Because look, see that fast up, fast down. It's a single print. That's a low volume gap. Price moves quickly there. So you're looking for 970 to hold to mark up. Where could it go? Let's see. Is there any previous price action that tells us? No. This thing's in price discovery right now. So I'll tell you what, though. The measured move of this flag, let me see what this is. It's probably some ridiculous. I mean, it's saying about 1,500, man. So if this thing plays out in full, 1,500 could be it. What is Eli Lilly Company? What is this? And look, you got another flag forming here. If this flag breaks out, right? Where's that take us? 1,500. See what I'm saying? Like how there's confluence. The larger flag takes us to 1,500. The smaller flag measure move takes us to 1,500. So I don't know. I'll be watching that $1,500 level in the next couple months to see what happens. Maybe by end of year, it could take some time. It's not going to be an overnight play. Like just from here, this is August low. Remember I talked about that August low? This is August low from last year up till now. That's almost a year long. And it's moved almost 200%. So it was a pretty good move. Well, 100%, sorry. Not 200. But yeah, those are the levels I'll be watching. It's a pharmaceutical company. Makes sense. Pharma's going hot right now, isn't it? Anyways, guys, that was my last one for the night. I've been running for about an hour and 40. Like, subscribe, follow. We go live 6 days a week. And yeah, check us out, tacticaltraders.com. That's our website, free courses. You can join our Discord from there. If you join the Discord, say what's up. I'm Unfair Philly in the Discord. I go by Eric. That's an inside joke, the Eric one. But yeah, dude, we do a bunch of this stuff in here. We trade live too. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, man, check us out. Promise you, if you've been part of other trading groups, our group's a lot different. It's way different. It's the last group you'll probably end up joining. Most of our members don't leave. They stay, and they've had it with the other other channels out there. We're not a signals group, none of that stuff. So yeah, maybe we are for you guys. But anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping in, showing the love, and yeah, until next time, guys. I will check you out later.